Welcome. This is the Bright Professor. I'm Dr. Leonard Bright. Welcome back to the second video in a series where I explore in detail a meeting between me and my wife and the dean and his senior executive dean after I received word that I was being denied promotion to the full professor rank. One of the central problems in my promotion process was the decision by the dean to allow an individual who had a history of hostility against me and my wife the responsibility to lead my promotion process. I believe this individual acted on his hostility and led an effort to rig my promotion to fail. In this video, you will hear the dean pivot from my complaints to an argument that I actually had responsibility for what had happened to me. Basically, it was my fault for what they did. I'm starting off where we left off in episode 1, where the dean lays out a complicated answer to the simple question of whether or not an individual with a history of hostility toward me and my wife should even be involved in my process. Let's get started.
If consulted with other people and external reviewers, and I haven't seen the whole package yet. I don't know how many names are on which list, where they came from, what people told him when he called, how many times he talked to all those things are questions that I have to get clear. If, for example, he went to which I think he did, I think Ann told me she was part of this process, she helped him vet the list, that adds a different person's voice into the discussion, and now it's not just acting on his own. If he was involved in helping to pick or take people off the list or find new reviewers, that gives a different face to this. And so that's what I've got to find out. Did consult with the dean of faculty at any point in time about all this? All that's part of this. And so I'll tell you all that. I'll know all that when you and I talk again.
But my question is, and so we're kind of still going past that first question. Right. So what I'm hearing from you is that there's no such thing as a conflict of interest in this kind of process. It's based on proving whether or not something has happened.
Well, not the fox ate all the
do you believe there's a possibility there could be a conflict of interest in a person, irrespective of what they did?
Sure, there could be.
Clearly.
Now, whether that manifests itself in
friends
this
are a conflict of interest. If we're friends, they say you cannot have a friend. So if we could be friends and that be a conflict of interest,
Christine, if
but
Frank was
an enemy is certainly a conflict of interest.
If Frank was the chairperson of the promotion tenure committee in a department, and you were part of the department, and you considered each other friends, he would not recuse himself from the process.
No, I'm not talking about that type of a friend. I'm talking about that the process says that we're not. I just use that as an example. If people can be recused for having too close of a relationship, if a spouse or what have you can be recused, then surely an enemy can be recused.
And also,
someone who fired your wife.
There's a conflict of interest.
And wouldn't even talk to her.
Dean Welsh knew this was true. There were 2 cases in the college where we had department heads and their spouses employed in a department. And in both of those cases, the department heads could not supervise their spouses. Also, I would argue the conflict of interest can certainly is about how it manifests, but it also is how it's perceived by the people who are being impacted by the person, pure involvement. I am raising this point here because it appears to me that the dean is here trying to suggest that when there is the potential of a conflict of interest, that we should de-emphasize the history of the individual in question, even when that history suggests that the individual is capable of harming or injuring the process. Instead, he attempts to raise the bar and suggest that no, it's not the history that we should pay attention to, but whether or not you can prove that this person did something that was injurious, or in his terms, manifested. He cared more about the person doing the injury than me who was being injured. So basically, Dean Welsh and the university left me exposed to this enemy.
Why didn't you raise this an issue then? To me, to your department head, to Frank, to anyone?
Now you hear the dean shift the conversation from my concerns about my treatment in this process to now an argument that I had responsibility to be clear to them in a way that would have forced them to do right by me. Now, before I formally submitted my application for promotion, I had a face-to-face meeting with every full professor in the department. One of those meetings was with an individual that I have labeled Faculty 1 in this video. During our meeting, Faculty 1 made it very clear that he disagreed with my decision to seek promotion, and even noted that he should recuse himself. I learned later that after this meeting, Faculty 1 actually lobbied the department and the university to chair my promotion process, and they granted him his request. I did not know about his involvement in my promotion process until he contacted me requesting that I forward him my proposed external reviewers. In response, I contacted the sitting department head and expressed my concerns about his involvement and what he could potentially do in this process. The department head, who was within 2 months of leaving the position, communicated to me that certainly while he would not have any official role in my promotion process, he would communicate with the dean's office my concerns and get back with me. Unfortunately, the department head did not get back with me, and Faculty 1 remained involved in my process.
I asked, and he said
He said he was going to talk to Frank.
And you told him you thought it was a conflict of interest for to be involved?
said
He
he should
Yeah,
probably
well,
recuse himself.
When was this?
So when was this?
This is a conversation when I went to him, when I went around, talked to all the faculty. He said to me, he probably should recuse himself.
Jesus.
Well, Leonard,
Yeah.
but if you look back at who was here when this all happened, and who knew about it,
Well,
I wasn't
again,
here, he wasn't here, he wasn't part of that. No, nobody knew about the details of this.
You know, ignorance is not an excuse. I mean, but it is an excuse.
Well, neither is not telling somebody. There is some accountability. If you had serious concerns in April
Okay.
that shouldn't be any part of this process, when you decided you were going to go forward,
Mm-hmm.
you should have made it
Who was
real
I gonna
clear
tell?
that you had a concern.
Who?
Go to the dean of faculty.
Right.
Go to anybody.
So, all right. So then I was injured, and I didn't tell anybody. Okay, and what?
Yeah, I'm not following you. What's
Since the dean wants to feign ignorance, and even that my department head was not my department head, I want to see how far the dean is willing to take his argument, especially given that I am now here saying that I may have suffered an injury in my promotion process.
Okay, so your statement is, it's okay for me to be injured because I didn't tell anybody.
That's not what I said.
So
That's
that
not
is
at
that
all-
should I interpret
Let
that
me,
way?
let me tell you. That's not at all what I said.
Okay.
What I said was, if you had a concern about the promotion process in April, you should have made it real clear to us.
Right,
This
so
is
that-
not part of this process.
He was a department head.
Now this is silly season. We have a small college, and the dean only has 2 department heads that report to him. And his feigning that he did not know who was one of the 2 department heads that he supervised was just plain silly. Now let's listen to this Abbott and Costello, who's on first, what's on second, I don't know, third base skit that we all engage in.
He was his department head.
Who's
Wasn't
the
until
department
July.
So you told.
I told who was going to be involved in this, and he said he's staying out of it. He don't think he said maybe Frank is going to be writing a letter or doing whatever, but he'll let them know and ask, and I never heard anything.
I mean, have been department head when all this came.
Well, then who was the department
No,
head?
I'm just saying.
No.
that
I
he-
started
he-
the letters started in May, and then
Didn't
The letters were
become
started.
department head
Whether-
till
whether
July,
they involved this, she was a
till
department.
July 1st. Was the department.
the department head. So let's just say this.
Just clarify for me what you told, because I've got to go talk to Blue. You told
I
Blue you didn't think.
about being involved in this process.
Did you tell him you didn't think?
No, of course not. No, I didn't say that. And you know, and at the end of the day, I would take that on the chin. I had put too much hope.
Now certainly, I was not saying that I did anything wrong. It was just that I should have never trusted that they would do their jobs right. Their argument that I had to use a specific set of words in a particular sequence was nothing short of blame shifting and gaslighting. Their false statements that I didn't tell anyone, that they didn't know who the department head was, or that no one knew were false. In the next videos in this series, you will hear the dean admit to being aware of the run-ins I had with Faculty 1 that involved him being reprimanded by a previous dean.